Hello everyone, Don here again with the next update on the 83 Mustang Restoration project. Alright, this past week I went ahead and started working on some of the rusted out panels in the chassis. Here, the only place that was really rusted was in this area, so I cut that out and patched it up with a little patch. The rest of that's pretty good. As you can see, I've pretty much sanded down all the areas where the thing has to go together. And then I will throw some primer on them before I stick the parts together for final sanding. Everything's kind of ground down. This is fairly rusty under here. Once I peeled that up, I ground that all off, all this off. And then over here, we had the corner was rotted out. So I put a patch panel in here, used the old car's panel from the white donor car. Patched that up, and then this was rusted out clear around in here, so this has been cut out all the way across here, all the way across here and here, and then I folded this all up, cleaned under here real good, and welded in a brand new piece of patch panel in there. So the body is pretty much done with the patch panels. And then back here I had that really bad floor cracking. I welded all that up. I'll come in here and probably grind on a little bit of these, a couple of these welds to clean it up some, but that's all nice and solid again. So I spent a little while doing that, and again stripped out all the old seam seal and rust and paint that were on these pieces. Again, cleaned up some of that. So that's all been sanded out and ready. Now I just got to kind of give it a good cleaning, then I'll throw some primer on there. I don't have any weld through primer, but I'm just going to use some etching primer. So, and then on this thing, I went ahead and started cleaning up. I need to find something that works really good for stripping down some old paint, some seam seal, and some of this surface rust. Tried a couple different things, but nothing really works good. Wire wheel, even a real abrasive wire wheel on an angle grinder, just doesn't seem to want to pull the rust out. But I did go through and weld all these holes that were in here that it drilled through from the little hole saw for what do you call it, spot weld drills. But I went through and welded them all up, ground them all down, filled them all in. So I got both sides all done. Even over here, this side's all finished out too. So again, now I'm just kind of need to do a final cleanup here, throw some basic primer on there, and then it'll be ready to start assembling back in the car. And then on this one here, I wasn't really happy with this floor panel. It's just grindings. So I ended up cutting this out clear up here, all the way around here, and I made this new panel, welded on the lip on the side, and again cleaned all these surfaces that come together for when it gets welded back together. So I ended up replacing that whole panel, just to get rid of that. So essentially, once this is cleaned up, again the idea is to try and get a lot of this stuff knocked down. It really needs a good cleaning as well as sanding out, so it's just a lot of crud on there where the firewall insulation blanket was. It's like they had some type of spray adhesive holding that in, so that's what this coloration here is from. But as you can see, it's got a lot of this little rust just everywhere, because this thing sat outside for a couple years with no windshield or anything in it, so that's pretty much what did all that in. So that's pretty much it. This is essentially ready to put in the car. And the nice thing about this is already has the correct holes in it for the air conditioning, because this was an AC equipped car. This car, on the other hand, was a dealer installed AC, and it was a different whole different setup. But I have a whole box and everything all ready to go, put in this car when it's ready to start assembling. But that's a ways down the road. So still, you can see I got this rust here to clean up. That's surface rust. That'll probably come off pretty good with my I can't even think today, I'm so tired now. My acid prep, acid etching material. But I did some cleaning up on that, so that's in really good shape. And peeled out a lot of the seam seal that was around this whole thing. So again, a lot of these sides, these are pretty clean, but that gets wedged in back here behind this thing. So I'll probably, it's not rusted or anything, I'll probably just wash this, take it out with the pressure washer and some soap and get this thing cleaned up. Usually I stuck all these screws back in here to keep references to them, but all this stuff's going to have to come out. All this stuff come off. Again, I still need to probably patch up those damn things. And then again, inside it's not rotted out or anything, it's just rusty in there. There was some kind of heavier coating material in there. It's really thick stuff that they've tried to keep that sealed up with. So all that's got to be kind of cleaned eventually. Let's see what else. Again, there's my patch panel I did on that. Everything's ground down, ready to go together. Then here, I mentioned last week cutting this out. So I got a hole saw in there, cut out a small hole, and seen it was still a little bigger, so I put a bigger hole saw in there and cut it out even more. So we're going to kind of clean that off, clean it out some, and then I'll put a disc in there and weld that shut again. Probably weld that hole shut, and then this hole. That hole belongs there. So I had to go in, and after doing all this cutting and grinding, see all this dust everywhere. Get a lot of it in my sinuses, so I go in the house in the bathroom and I snort a bunch of water several times to flush out my sinuses. So I'm sounding a little hoarse right now from doing that, but gets a lot of the crud out. Works good for allergies too. So that's kind of where I'm at. My next project is going to be getting, I'll have to go into town tomorrow and see if I can find some 16 gauge steel. Lowe's had some 16 gauge, but it's not long enough. This thing is about 38 inches long, and for the whole wrap around the sides, bottom, and the other side, there's a good almost 10 inches of width. So I need at least 10 by 38 to make that part. Then I need to come in and again on the front side, which is down there, on the other one for this white car. The internal pieces, the doublers inside it, are still good, so I'll take that out of the other one, and then that heavy one, that one's rotted out real bad. But you can see that there's that extra doubler in there. That's where this thing rusted on that one over there. So this I'll have to either save this one or get the one off of the white frame that might be a little better shape. But either way, I got to save one of those. But I'm going to have to make that box up. And I'm going to have to make this little panel that was right here. I got to replace this panel and take the panel off of that still. So that panel, that inside panel which was here, it's rusted out from the battery. And all this damage was essentially from the acid from the battery. So I got to rebuild this whole box. This piece here I can reuse off of, let's see, I don't need to reuse that one because, let's see, let me think. One of those, yeah, one of them I got to reuse if I didn't already cut them up. But either that or I got to make a new one. Let me think. Yeah, that's the front. This is the front one. This is the one I have to replace. This is the front. So this is the one that I need to make. That one back there is this one right here. So I don't have to worry about that. And then this side, this stuff's all still good over here. So I don't have to worry about this one. This one's good. Alright, so I'm going to keep this one a little short tonight, but I've pretty much been working on this thing all week long. Got a lot done, so shouldn't be maybe by next week's video, next weekend when I do my next video, this may be up in place and spot welded in. Because there's not much left to do this other than basically cleaning it up. I may have, like I say, I'll have to go in here and do something with these hinge pockets because I don't like the way them are rusted up. They're pretty thin. I can do that now when it's sitting on the floor. Just set it up, work on it straight down like it is. It'll just layer flat this way. Or it can be done after it's in the car. Either way, it's got to be done. So, okay, folks, I'm just going to make this one a short one. It may not look like a lot, but there's a lot done there. You know, those patch panels, that's pretty much all there is left for patching up in rust holes. There's 2 little rust holes, a little hole back here and a tiny little hole over there. That one I can probably just weld shut. That one will need a little patch. But the rest of that, it's rusty, but it's not rotted out. Underneath it's solid. The topsoil is just right on the seams where the seam seal. Probably didn't do a very good job, or there may have been water laying in there from all the years it sat. So, okay, folks. As always, appreciate everyone taking the time to watch my videos. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, or concerns, and I'll keep these things coming along as time goes on until I run out of money or it gets too damn cold to worry about it. So, all right, folks. Until next week. This is Dino Don out.